I'm worried about the state of games today. Not with the quality of games or the amount of them coming out or anything like that, but I'm worried about preservation of games. Technology has moved quite fast recently since the internet became a thing. We're always finding new pieces to add to the technology puzzle and new ways to utilise it. Like, just think of how many mobile phones that you've been through in the last 20 years, as if you've even been alive that long. Once upon a time, you had a massive brick with a suitcase attached to it that you could just about make phone calls on. And now it's just like a little piece of glass that you keep in the pocket, and it's got access to the whole of human history and knowledge with just a swipe of a thumb. Games aren't too different. You started with 2 lines knocking a box backwards and forwards, and now you've got games that rival real life. But this ain't about how far gaming tech's come, but more on how we use it and how we think of products we consume to use with our plastic boxes. So, ever since games become detached from their consoles and put on cartridges, people have been collecting them. I mean, just look at some of these YouTubers' collections out there. You'll probably shit yourself with the amount of crap that they've got just in their ass. This hobby's also helped a number of old classics from yesteryear get another chance at life. Tons of people love getting their hands on these old titles that they've never heard of until now, just to get the experience of playing it. Just look how crazy people have gone over the NES Classic. It was such a success that Nintendo decided to bring out the fucking Super Nintendo Classic. And this time, they've even included a game that's never been released, Star Fox 2. So essentially, they're re-releasing an old console with a brand new title. I'm not being funny, to me, that is cool as fuck. I mean, I'm not a fan of these cash grab mini consoles, but if you're going to offer games that you can't buy anywhere else, then I'm all for it. But sadly, this ain't a trend of keeping the old feeling new. The best we get is emulation or some collection disc with a select amount of games on it. The problem with this route is licensing. Titles of the NES like Batman or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles won't be able to be released because the developers don't have the license for them no more, so they've got no way of bringing the game out. As much as this might seem to be a problem, the original game's still there. It may be hard to find or expensive to get a hold of, but it's still there, and also backed up with ROM dumps online. Microsoft have tried to help out with this by making the Xbox One near enough fully backwards compatible, but again, licensing stops all the games from being able to be featured on this program. You can only get the ones that they can manage to still release. But still, this isn't much of a problem for older games though. See, my worry is more from games in the 7th and 8th generation of games. So what's the first thing you normally see when you pop a game in these days? Updates. Seems like everywhere you turn now, everything has to be updated, and regularly. With this in mind, put yourself in a scenario of being 20 years into the future, when everyone's playing on something like, I don't know, the fucking PlayStation 15 and the Xbox None or something, and you want to just have a quick game of Street Fighter 5. So you walk down to your local retro game shop or on eBay or whatever, you grab a copy, dust off your old PS4, put the game in to play it, but you're stuck with the state that the game was in on launch. And if you play Street Fighter 5, you know that game was an absolute shit show when it come out. It has no characters, there's no extra modes. It was just a piss poor launch for a game. And just because it's retro at this point in time, it's no longer going to be supported. The servers are going to be long shut down giving out the updates for that game, unless they've obviously re-released it, fucking super 20 times HD re-release of it in the future. But just as a point now, I can't see that happening. Or you've got other games like Asura's Wrath, where the real ending to the game was hidden behind DLC. If you ain't got that service up and running no more, you can't see that ending. And this is what's making me start to worry. Games ain't no longer a media to rival books and films anymore, but now they're more like services to rival Netflix and Amazon Prime. We've gotten to a point in gaming where the sale of the game isn't what the publishers want, but the amount of hours they can keep you playing there is their main goal. Like a fisherman throwing out bait to help him catch a fish, developers throw out little changes, little extra add-ons like new maps or guns or colours or costumes or whatever, but essentially this don't add anything but a visual difference. Like the game is rarely changed, but people lap this stuff up, and they do this because they want to keep you fixed on their product over the competition. Why would you play the same levels in Call of Duty or Battlefield over and over and over again when you can just play in an expanding universe that is getting bigger and bigger all the time and play Destiny until you see everything and then you realise you've got to buy another add-on just to make that even bigger? These practices have led to games going for a single product of £50 or $60 in America, to being like an ever-changing service that sometimes can cost twice as much as the original release game. Like, let's look at Destiny as an example. Destiny was released in the UK at £50. You got 2 DLC packs that cost £20 each, and then you got another one called The Taken King come out, which cost another £40. Then finally, The Rise of Iron come out, and that was another 20 quid. Meaning, on this single game, if you bought it from day one and you kept up to date with it, you've spent £150 on one game. Bruv! And then to make it even worse, you have to spend an extra £40 or whatever it is now, because it's gone up in price again, on PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live or any of these bloody services just to make the game work. So one game ends up coming to the price of 3 with added costs. And it sells because, like I said earlier, they don't only want your money, they want all your attention as well. And this begs the question, what if the online service stopped running? Can you still play the game? Has that £150 just vanished now? Like back in the day, once a game was printed and shipped, that was it. Good or bad, that was the game that you're playing, with the glitches and bugs included. Now a game can come out as one thing, and then a year later down the line, it can be something completely different, because it keeps updating through the internet and changing it into something else. So that makes me ask, are games where a lot of their content is stored somewhere on a server or required to play or needs all these extra fluff just to get the game working, are they even worth preserving? I mean, is it even something that's possible? Now here's a completely different example. Got a cult game now on the PlayStation called PT. It was put up on the PlayStation Store just like randomly. No one knew about it, but people hooked onto it. People started playing it, but then all of a sudden Konami decided they wanted to remove it. So the PT demo is gone. You can't get it off the store, and that's it. So that means the only way that you can buy this game, well, bear in mind that the game was free in the first place, but the only way that you're going to be able to get this game now is if you buy a second-hand PlayStation 4 that already has the game installed on it. And if you go on eBay and just quickly search that, you'll soon find out that these things are going for ridiculous prices. And to me, that's just like criminal. That just shouldn't be allowed. If it was put up there online, just until the service is shut down, at least just keep the thing there. Do you know what I mean? Like, because people want to play it. It's free anyway. It's not like you're losing money off of it. Just keep it there. And on the other hand, you have got some companies that at the same time they want to take your money, they are kind of preserving their games. You know, that's with the HD remaster. I mean, they do preserve older game titles and give them like a fresh coat of paint, but this only happens for a small select like number of titles out there. And sometimes they don't even come out as good as the original game. I mean, have you seen the Silent Hill HD collection? It's fucking terrible. So, is there a solution to this? I don't know. Will there be a solution? I don't know that either. But I really do think it's something worth thinking about, in my opinion. Tell me what you think. Do you have a solution? Do you collect games? Or are you happy for everything to just sort of stay in the cloud, be non-physical, and just sort of be the way things are now, like in this sort of digital existence? Or would you prefer to be something like, I don't know, like a Netflix of games, or like that service they tried on Live where it just streams through? I don't know. But tell me what you think, put it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.